Hello everybody, welcome back. Ramen's Bunker Binge. Ooh, Amnesia the Bunkers coming out. We're playing every single Frictional game back to front, baby, all of them. Just like Ramen's Rebirth Rewind a couple of years ago. We're in the sewer. It's an hour-long, quiet, immersive, for the most part, playthrough to respect the good old Amnesia. We have to tempt that wall. We gotta honk the wall, you know? Quite an immersive, I say, so instantly pull whatever that shit was. With Florian's Remastered mod as well. Link is in the description. Check Florian out, very good creator. What did I ever look up enough in this level? All the reflections, So sanity is not low enough to trigger the event. That's cool.
What's happening? What are you doing? Let me go! Please, don't take me! Nobody ever returns!
Hey man. So much anger. I still absolutely refuse to do something I did years ago, where I stood up here, let him chase me into the room, jumped around him, and then shut the door on him. Never doing that ever again. Ever. Yeah, it's a shame the frame rate is what it is. Ooh, where was I? Oh, in the sewer. You know, there's something kind of strange. So I'm still learning Finnish. Where is it? There it is. You know what eat is, or to eat in Finnish is? It's fucking... Excuse me, I changed my keyboard language. Excuse me, it doesn't want to do it. What the fuck? I've changed my keyboard language! What? One sec. I had to click out of the thing. It's still not doing it. Oh, I was pressing the wrong buttons because I'm stupid. Sewer.
Sewer.
Sewer. Why is your word... It's so similar to sewer. Speaking of, what's sewer in Finnish? Viemäri.
Viemäri.
Viemäri. Street gully. Stapler. Viemäröidä.
Viemäröidä.
Viemäröidä. Okay. Well, we learned something. Why is the word for eat sewer? Ow! Sorry, I actually genuinely forgot. Look, I haven't played this game for years, alright? Leave me alone. Do you reckon there's an actual wooden beam up there? Or is it just a 2D thing? I'm gonna say it's a 2D plane. Yeah, it's a 2D plane. Oh, the reflection on the bricks. Oh. Florian. Yeah, I am not doing the hard mode strat. I'm not brave enough. Fuck. Hard mode strat is you... Should we try it? We'll try it. Oh no, because I want to get the laudanum. But then we do skip an encounter. No, we won't skip an encounter. Oh, we can get the laudanum. Yeah, we'll skip the encounter. We'll do a hard mode strat and hope that this works.
Daniel, turn around this instant. You are carrying the shadow with you.
The bond gate was torn down by that creature. Please don't see me. I don't know if he changed the scripting for this bit. He very well might see me. It's so scary. It's so scary. There's another laudanum around the corner, but we don't need it. We're just gonna go for it. Which way do these open? Okay, good. Nice. He used the unused brute doors as well. Oh. Do you reckon this is a 2D plane or is this a real rendered room? It's a room. What happens if we go back down? You can't make me. It re-triggers. Yeah. Starts climbing the ladder after me. Things like this never do always. How could he know if Henry would show up down the road? Or even at his house? Is he that mad? Would he do that? No, it wasn't until... Because I didn't really get bullied in school as a kid. In my teen years, a little bit, because I became very... Well, that my anxiety like, get really, really bad. But it wasn't until I was being sort of semi-bullied by some kids that I actually really resonated with that loading screen. Ladder broke during the ascent. It's not possible to climb back down it. Do you want to see why I call the shadow sentient? It's because of this. Which room is empty? No. What's this one? Yeah. Give me the tinderbox before it gets absorbed. This is an example of why the shadow is sentient. Watch this. Watch your step. I know I've showed this off before. Watch. We spawn in this room. It locks you in. Blocks the exit. And taunts you before letting you pass. And that's the only physical in-game proof of the shadow's sentience, but it's described as sentient in the first place, given that it only kills certain people. But it's been a bit unreliable at times, like the fisherman getting killed for not really any real reason, I imagine. But yeah. They give you a lot of supplies. Wow.
9th of August 1839. I can't stop sweating and shaking. The warding ritual was not something of a sane mind. I did not even realize the dungeon was still in use. Alexander had his servants bring one of the prisoners, a murderer, he told me. Alexander made all the arrangements, but he said I had to perform the ritual in order to have the right effect. The shadow could be led astray by the blood of another. Killing the man would provide us precious time. What else could I do? Alexander said it had to be done. He is saving my life. I don't have the luxury of argument.
This story is so well written. It's so well written and performed. It really is. This is just a perfect game. Amnesia the Dark Descent is a perfect horror game. Change my mind. You can't. The sights, the sounds, the story. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Such a groundbreaking, necessary, important piece of gaming culture and history. But it doesn't need to be surpassed. That's what people are getting wrong about sequels. People ruin sequels for themselves before they're even out. They don't need to be better, bigger and better than the last one, as long as they are interesting and they offer something else, a unique perspective on the world, the characters, the stories being told. If you let it crumble, if you put it under this huge amount of pressure, it's just going to crumble before your eyes. That's another reason I respect Rebirth so much, is because they had so many chances to bring things back and so much request to, oh, bring this back, have this be in it, have this be in it. And they were just like, no, we're going to do exactly what we want to do with it.
Agrippa, I need you to stay awake. Can you feel the syringe?
No, I can't feel anything. Alexander?
Yes.
Soon, I won't even be able to move, will I?
Your life is safe.
I don't doubt that. But will it be worth living?
Will it be worth living? Did you fix the broken shovel, Florian? Florian! Oh, it looks like he just disabled player collision with it entirely. Notice how it didn't rest on our head or anything. What, does this? Wait, no, it doesn't. Okay, well, never mind. Agrippa. Hello.
Help me. Pull the switch. next to me. Thank you. You have my gratitude. My name is Agrippa. Who might you be? Daniel? Like the prophet thrown into the lion's den? Tell me, are you among the lions, Daniel?
I want to stop Alexander.
You want to stop Alexander? Oh my. So Babylon shall fall, you say? You worry too much. Alexander is toothless without an all.
He has one.
He has one.
Yeah.
That's not very promising at all.
No.
The sanctum is basically impenetrable, but against my hole. It could be breached by another, but Alexander broke his, my old, a long time ago. Really? Well, if you tell the truth, by all means, see out the pieces of the broken oil and mend away.
Man, no.
I believe he uses them for torture now. They practically leak matter, which is quite useful, I understand. There should be 6 of them. Look around the choir and the transept. You should be able to find them there.
Will do.
Dad, I hate to bother you further, but if you're really going after Alexander, would you consider taking me with you? I know it sounds ridiculous. Look at me. But if you find anything concerning a man named Johann, would you please bring it to me? I believe he was working on a way to help me. A recipe for some sort of potion, a tonic, to free me from this husk of mine. Who, me? I'm Heinrich Cornelius Agrippa. I was once quite important, you know. Baron Alexander has sustained my soul in this dead husk for years. Who knows how many? Hundreds, I presume.
Get her back!
Yeah, in last episode when the grunt attacked me, or heard the noise of the iron door, I never heard the grunt or any enemy react to the door opening or closing. Ever. And I knew that that was a thing that they could do, but every single time that I've tried that, I don't think they've ever heard it. Although it could be the case of every single time that I've tried it, I've never closed doors fully because I knew that they heard it. I can't tell. But I've never tried flicking on a locked door near an enemy's vicinity to see if they hear it, so maybe that's just what the difference was. Because they can't see you through doors either, because doors are rendered as one object, even if they have holes in. Like a door like this, you can peek through and stare at them and stuff, and they won't see you. So this is the cell that the girl that Alexander killed was in. Crazy. Damn, that's crazy, but who asked? Hello? Upside the untendable.
I know this. I've been here already. I know this taste. A taste of Damascus rose obfuscating the truth in a dim haze. They may sweep the traces from my memory, but my body remembers. These cuts speak volumes, even though my mind remains silent. They will be back. They will be back.
The thick liquid?
The thick liquid spread across his tongue. He swallowed excessively to consume every drop. He looked through the window of the widespread forest and the morning sun. Will this ever end? He thought. Ooh.
I'm really sorry that had to happen. You know, one mistake. You just gotta roll with it. You gotta commit. And if you speak like that, in this day and age, you should commit too. Suicide. I'm telling you to kill yourself. Ooh. Hey. When you just despawn if I go down here? Is that only the grunt? The brute. I think it's the brute. This normally does it anyway. You can just sit up here, let him despawn. Might go over there to do it. There's a tinderbox on the ground somewhere. Oh, what? Did you change the scripting? The monster comes down and goes in there. I think the tinderbox is here in the Redux version. How is that word pronounced? Is it Redux or Redo? Like... Sorry for the pauses.
Just a little further.
It's like Orpheus descending into the underworld.
Are you hiding something?
What do you mean?
Never mind. Your intuition is remarkable.
I'm not sure I'm following.
It doesn't matter. It's just a myth after all.
I love Alexander so much. I want to have sex with him. I said never mind, I'm sorry, game! Oh, Thomas Grip hates the gays. I'm with you, buddy. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. I hate gays, not Thomas Grip.
Aren't you gay?
Yeah? What? Just because I'm partly LGBT doesn't mean I can't be anti-LGBT. No, I'm kidding. Although for every activist out there, I do genuinely hate gay people. I want to be on record with it. No, I'm just kidding. See, stuff like this, saying stuff like that where it's so obviously me joking, and just the dryness of the delivery, and saying something absurd and outdated is supposed to be the comedy. But stuff like that will get me into trouble, even though it's not meant to be anything serious. It's whatever. But saying stuff like that, I mentioned this in the first episode, saying things like that, and trying to like interview people and stuff like that, and having their names attached to you by proxy, and having you say things like that, that doesn't look good for anybody. So, I really should have learned my lesson by now, shouldn't I? But I think it's funny. And I want to piss you off. Huh? No, I don't want to piss you off. But yeah, look. Oh, I thought this was the shrine to his girl. A little picture, but it's just a banner. It's just a little sacrificial area. I always took this as the room that Alexander died in. Sort of thing. His mortal body. All is lost, I must once again start over. Ever since I recovered the orb first found by Agrippa, I've depended on it for my research. The incident with Wilhelm made me most impetuous. Fearing a paucity of prisoners, I proceeded with the final ritual without proper foreskin. The orb cracked and fell into 6 parts. I've tried everything but have yet to mend the thing. Unless I can think of a way to piece it together, I will have to find another. There is still life in the pieces, and even if the orb isn't restored, I might be able to salvage some of its power for some other purpose. Centuries have passed in vain, and I begin to wonder how I will ever be able to see my love again. How much longer can I sustain my life? That's also an interesting thought. Because, obviously, thinking of Rebirth and Dark Descent and stuff that Rebirth would want to improve on and build on, Alexander's love interest, the only real person that we hear about, other than all of the little worker elves that we hear about, I don't think that would be someone that he's in love with. And I don't think the general public had access to life-extending Vitae properties. The Queen is the only one that we know about. But Alexander and the Queen have no confirmed relationship or love or anything. It's not off the table, but there's nothing suggesting that they were together at all. But the Queen would, one of the Queens at least, would be the only thing, surely. Would be the only person in that universe that would be able to sustain themselves with the Vitae. So maybe it is the Queen, but then why would the Queen exile him? What did he do that was that bad he got exiled? And it's not the Queen who exiled him outright, I believe. I don't remember the exact note, but he was hiding from one of the orders, and then impressed the Queen and Tamaku and all that, and then they got rid of him later on, when they found out who he was, and his crimes were discovered.
12th of August, 1839. The banishment ritual is taking longer than expected, and we have to do what is needed. I spend my time helping out the prisoners. Being around these degenerates makes me ill. None of them even tries to face their punishment with any kind of dignity. They taunt me with their lies of innocence and their cowardly pleas of mercy. What can make a man fall so far from the grace of a civilized existence? They are all wicked men, and I remind myself of it constantly. Still, I am thankful for God sending these monsters our way, as they will serve as the instruments of my salvation. I try to study the different tools in the torture chamber and learn how to use them effectively. Last time was messy, and the effect suffered from my inexperience. When the next warding is to be performed, I shall be ready.
We will train him. We will use machine learning to turn him into a killer. Yikes. Carefully cutting the man open made him think. This is how father must feel about his craft. Being an artisan, relying on one's skill to perform something so delicate, grants a certain form of pride.
These cells are meant to hold prisoners who are under treatment. The people you send for will end up here. Remember that the confinement itself works as a preamble to the torture, and you should pace yourself. Don't take anyone before they are ready.
Understood.
Sounds from the torture chambers are shuttled in through those pipes in the ceiling. Manage your victims well, and let one prisoner's pain instill terror in his cellmate.
Alexander is quite impressive in many ways, but he has grown impatient.
suuri. Tosi suuri. Aha, we have reached the penumbra spider. I love pronouncing penumbra as just penumbra. Just makes me laugh. Chung chung, chung chung. Phew. What was that?
Fire!
Ah! Oh! Huh.
Daniel, you have gone too far. I have to stop you. I can't let you proceed any further. I'm sorry, my friend.
They even put him down here. They put him under the stairs. There's a spider on the bottom of the stairs. No way! We need to name you! Holy shit! Is there one down here? Oh my god! What do we call you? Oh, we have to name it, guys. We have to name it. Him. You are him now. You have sound for death hit anime hit. Skunk. Skunk. Who is skunk? Hey skunk. It's skunk. It's pronounced S. It's spelled S-K-N-K. Skunk. That's skunk. Okay, we have to come back to him. I'll forever remember you, skunk. We made a new friend. I didn't know he was down there. Oh, I didn't know.
Good to see you. You got your doors open?
Yeah.
Good going. I knew you could make it.
Thanks, Megamind.
By me, I'm the next best thing. Alexander really wanted none other than Johann Bayer. You never heard of Johann Bayer? No. My God, boy. He's probably the greatest man in history. And you don't know him? Or is it the world?
Have you heard of Ninja from Twitch? He's pretty damn good too. I love Ninja. When I grew up I want to dye my hair just like he did. Does he still dye his hair? I've never watched any of his streams. I'm just so grateful that his braless wife bought him a sandwich that he didn't ask for. Hell yeah! You stink. He's pulling the rope. That poor leg bone.
Was there something else? Bayer was my pupil. My pupil. Yes, I do take pride in that man. Is it so wrong?
No. You take part in it if you want. Maya taunts me from the other side. I trusted him with my true reason for my efforts, and still he insists on me releasing the Ripper. How an enlightened man can show such lack of compassion in a seat of power disgusts me. I can't bring myself to part from Agrippa, as he is and has been for centuries my only link to the worlds beyond. Wire claims he tries his best to release me from my banishment, but that he needs me to give him Agrippa first so he too can help. If he could guarantee success, I would happily oblige, but how am I to part from him if my return might be denied? I know what they are capable of, I've seen their deception. Optimism is a most hopeless feeling, but I must retain it. I shall prepare for his release. To release Agrippa without killing him, Wire told me to feed him a tonic made from a paralyzer, vitae, and tampta. The poisonous fungi should work as a paralyzer if I can find the internal gland from a large specimen. The choir seems to be a fertile grounds for this sort. I just understood why it's called the choir. That is sickening. That is genius. That is fucking brilliant. I love Amnesia the Dark Descent so much, more than any man should ever. I should then be able to extract its contents with the proper tools. The vitae could be extracted as usual from any agonized human victim's blood. I just need large amounts to distill it properly. Remember to collect this during the next torture session. Tampta, on the other hand, will prove more difficult. I don't think it exists in this world. Simply writing the word with these letters looks wrong. I believe it's a property of the secretion in the water-dwelling Kirk. I will have to address Wire with this, as he will have to supply me with a host. Also, a properly prepared well should suffice to contain it. 1 note speaks of a mixture made with 3 ingredients. In court, the Order of the Black Eagle spew their politics at each other while I sit quietly in place, willfully forgotten. Once in a while, someone will notice me and lose themselves in a silent cower before regaining their senses. They all know I am the one and the same Alexander who helped their fathers and grandfathers to found this great order. I soon will take their fathers' places, and they too will grow old and pass away. While I remain the same, aged not by time but by anguish.
The shadow. It's close now. Was there something else? Incredible. You found Vire's recipe. Then there might still be a chance. Listen carefully. Alexander is working on opening a gate, a door to another world. It's where he wants to go. If you could put your anger aside, let him open the portal before you take your revenge. Let me pass the gate, Daniel. Please, find the ingredients and prepare the tonic Vire describes. And do so before you assemble the orb. The barrier keeping you from the inner sanctum will only be breached for a short time. Unless everything is taken care of before mending the orb, you won't be able to save me.
Man, I cut that out, but that was so satisfying. Oh, there's still so much in there. Oh wow. I F3'd all the way through. If you enable the debug commands, you get to speed up the game and stuff. Just don't press F2. Look at how satisfying this is.
What been planned? Do you know Mithraism? I suppose it doesn't matter. It is an old faith, building temples out of caverns. The dark walls being the universe, and inside are its followers. Humans watching the sky slowly turn. But the followers do have one thing to allow them a real sense of connection to creation. The orbs.
The floor looks so uniform. Oh, I love it. Something died inside of him that day. Watching that man slip away was more than his mind was willing to handle. After the minute secured the prisoner, the ritual began.
August 1839. The blood wards are failing. The shadow beckons, and its cry disarms my actions. Hurry. No time to spare. You have to kill another. Alexander produces a knife. He wants me to cut the flesh. Do it. Save yourself. He is a murderer, Daniel. He is evil. A cold-blooded killer. Hurry. Alexander, you must let me be. I have to concentrate. Take the man, cut the lines, cut the flesh, watch the blood spill, let it come. Please, I didn't do anything. Take the man, cut the lines, take the man, cut the lines. Please, the man cries. Now you see. I did well. One life for another. You hear me, guardian of the orb? I did all this for you. Now, once more, withdraw your shadow from my domain. Alexander, there isn't much time. I can feel it. We must act swiftly. I will do whatever it takes.
Such filthy thought. Good men can safely choose their departure as they are nothing but a burden to mankind. They shall not be missed. Is this the kidnapper in her binds? From the transept?
What are my intentions, Daniel? Salvation. It used to be yours, but now you only seek misplaced revenge. How do you justify your violence? Is it for the greater good? Are you doing the world a service? It is you who caused all this pain and death. If you had accepted your fate and submitted to the orb when you first discovered it, none of this would have happened. It is curiosity in league with your selfishness that is killing us both.
We are not going to find the oil and the tinderboxes in this level. You can go straight up. If you watched the Penumbra Black Plague video, you'll notice that I mentioned something called a Curie moment. Which I think every horror game needs a Curie moment. A moment that you absolutely terrified to get through every single time. A moment that you dread the entire playthrough, and then hate getting through. For a lot of people, the choir is their Curie moment, and I call it a Curie moment because of the area of a fictional game that made me coin the term is the Curie from Soma. Because I think that is Soma's the scariest game that fictional games have made, and the Curie is one of the areas that I used to hate the most going through. I don't know if I'll be good at it nowadays. We'll find out, I suppose. But every fictional game has one or has had one for me. Apart from Overture, I suppose. Black Plague had the Amabel encounter, killing her. There's the forced combat encounter. Requiem used to be the entirety of Requiem, but after playing it again, I don't actually mind it that much. I think I've made my peace with Requiem. Dark Descent is the choir. Well, it used to be, until I did hard mode speedruns and I can pass this with flying colours 9 out of the 10 times without getting killed. Just depending on that last run across the road over there later on. Soma has the Curie, which will, again, we'll see how I deal with it. A lot of people's Curie moment in Soma was Acres, in the Theta Lab section, which isn't that bad, I don't mind that. But Rebirth, I discredited for a long time because I thought, oh, it doesn't have a Curie moment. There's nothing that I really dread going through. And then as I played Rebirth for the second time, the Wraith encounters at the end. The Wraiths terrify me. I love them, I love the design. The noises freak me the fuck out. They're so scary. I know a lot of people say, oh, the Wraiths aren't that scary. To me, the Wraiths are one of the scariest. They're top 3 scariest frictional enemy ever. But I just think they're so cool, and I respect and admire them so much. Very clever to fade the music out. The forge stood absolutely still. The casket had been closed, but a faint light made its way inside. A myriad of sparks pointed at them, glittering as they waited for his body to slip, just for a moment. His knee jerked and he felt blood trickle down his leg. In pain, his head fell slightly forward. It took him a while to realize his eye had ruptured and began to leak. Oh. Am I insane? There's normally laudanum in this room, right? We will, buddy, we will. We'll take my hard road strat. He didn't spawn. He didn't spawn. Oh, you can actually rig the spawns against you in this level, as you can make it so that an enemy spawns literally on top of you over there in that area. If you do things in a precise order, and trigger the encounters in a very specific way, it's really not funny, but funny at the same time. The brute just spawns on top of you. The traitor did not know what to think of the brash bull as he was forced to enter it. Only when the heat of the fire began to scorch his skin and cook his flesh did he realize it was to be his tomb. His screams of pain echoed inside the brash chamber and travelled through the complex instrument which was the bull's head. Outside, the men could hear the brazen bull bellow. I'm a bit scared he might have changed some spawns. This is the brute spawn that I never like. Because he spawns right there. That's an early spawn. Shit. Never take any chances.
The wheel is good for keeping your victims still during the procedure. They can be bound around the circumference or simply stretched across, tying limbs to the spokes and rim. All tools are by this point useful, and you may administer the torture in any way you like. But the forte of the wheel is the gaps. When you have decided that the victim shall die, you can smash their limbs with a hammer, making them fold in between the frame.
But they'll die. Too quickly, I mean.
No, don't worry. The human body is much more resilient. They can survive for days until they finally succumb.
Truly an upsetting and visceral, dark horror game. Gothic as all hell. The murderer's limbs were tied to the spokes of the wheel. They turned the wheel slowly, but with intent, so the rope secured around his leg stretched and cracked the bone. He no longer had the strength to scream. The two men looked at each other knowingly. He took a hammer and struck the victim's chest in a final act of mercy. And it paints the incredibly interesting question of, is this deserved? What level of torture are people comfortable with for crime and punishment reasons? What is justifiable and moral as a punishment? And who gets what? Depending on what, you know? Very interesting conversation. Hey! The fear had begun to drown him again. He reached once more for the empty bottle of oil, and in frustration he smashed it against the bedpost. It had gone too far. The man was suffocating as he could no longer breathe properly between their lashes. Displeased, he started to look for the Damascus rose oil.
How are things coming? Looks like you cleaned out the quiet. Head for the transept and find the rest of the ore pieces.
How you doing, you alright? Tell me with a video response. Just kidding. YouTube took those out. If you're still watching, email me. Do it. Go on, it's at my about page. Check it out. RomulanRincorporated@gmail.com. Send me an email. Tell me all of the food you've eaten today. Have a friend playing Soma? Crater? This looks amazing. This looks fucking incredible. About the desktop wallpaper background.
How much more, Baron? How much more am I supposed to withstand? Kill me already! Kill me!
This one. Prepare him.
Is it you, my love, I miss the most? Or is it perhaps myself? I know what I've become. I'm not blind. I'm a monster to them. A demonic sultan perched on a dark mountain top. There's little I can do to redeem myself. The Black Eagle fears me, and after Napoleon's defeat, it is only a matter of time before they will demand my head on a platter. I must remove myself from this land. This time it must work. If I can't return home now, I shall perish. There are quite a few things to be said about torture. I had figured that the reaction I would get from the victims would be highly individual. Thankfully, this is not the case. The humans all have a very similar approach to dealing with physical pain and the terror of anticipation. I can't stress enough the importance of restraining the victims before proceeding. Even the most timid creature can break out in fits of violence where their strength exceeds their expected prowess. If proper care has been put into breaking the victim, this should not be a problem, but it will also hinder the effect I am after. The right steps to take are, therefore, to restrain while the victim is still dazed, proceed by presenting the form of torture you're about to apply, and then continue with the actual act. Claire from Dorset, this is what you've won today! He pulls out a lovely, conventionally attractive young woman, comes out in like a very skimpy outfit, and she pulls this big projector with her, and the projector has like a bunch of just awful surgery implements and tools, and she's like very funny. I'm very funny, and I make this joke every time. The point of presentation is to infuse terror. The human mind is extremely efficient, as it will trigger itself into greater fear simply by imagining it. While applying pain, make sure to avoid massive damage, as it will prove more efficient if the process can be sustained. Also, apply the pain in doses, if possible with breaks, to let the body settle. If you're whipping or cutting the victim, strike once, wait for the pain to subdue, then strike again. As long as the body suffers, it will continue to produce the vitae and saturate the blood with its properties. Only with careful performance will the victim yield maximum effect. If the victim doesn't behave as expected, it is likely that it will all be for naught. Before this happens, feed them the amnesia drink and try again later. You think if I rub this, Aladdin will come? Or the genie will explode or whatever happens? I don't know, I didn't watch The Notebook. Good in there. Hydro Monstrum, you replied to me on YouTube. Bless you. I left a comment on that one video that I always talk about when I get here. Thank you, Hydro Monstrum. I'm glad to see you're still doing well. You're still kicking. Good job. Good job still being alive. I'm proud of you. Bastard. Oh, bollocks. I'm actually stuck here. No! Barely conscious. What happens when we die in this level? Can you die from fall damage? Unscripted fall damage? I don't think so. Maybe. I know it gets harder and harder to do. Let's check our fire info. Health is at 11. I don't think you can sustain more fall damage. More, like, I don't think you. I think it's caps at 10. There's like different fall measurements. Yeah, it stops at 10. Don't ask how I know this. It's just you play these games so much and you just pick them up. You just somehow understand this. That it just becomes wedged in your memory. Truly awful. The rapist hanged upside down, his tears soiled with blood flooding from his belly. The sore between his legs had lodged itself in the hip and wouldn't move any further. The men stepped back and waited for the victim to drain. kidnapper sat on her knees with her hands tied behind her back. She felt her hands being lifted and her body followed. Her shoulders gave way to the weight of her own body and cracked loudly. The suspended woman cried hysterically as the men contemplated their next step. There's wood on the floor? Oh, it's the chair. It's like having a headache. Whee.
Let me go, you brute!
The cradle is ready.
Good.
You're a man! How can you partake in this?
Is he all right?
He is one of the wicked. Don't pay his lies any attention.
I'm not a bad man! It was an accident!
He set a man on fire.
It wasn't my fault! Why won't anyone listen?
That's horrible.
Of course. We are dealing with monsters here.
No, please! I'll do anything! Whatever you want! Anything! I'll do anything! I'm innocent!
Didn't need that noise, thank you very much. The arsonist kept crying as he was slowly lowered on and off the impaler. It didn't take much to break him. They had meant for him to die, but the torture was working beyond their expectations. It wasn't the method, it was the arsonist. He was different from the others. They could make him forget again. That also feeds into the other question that we asked earlier. Is sympathy justifiable? It depends on the person. And it also begs another question, are we being lied to? Because we know that innocent people as well as criminals were taken here as well. All of these are described as being criminals. So we just will assume that they're criminals, but it could also be... Oh no, we do hear about that dude. That's the same dude from the prison. He gets tracked through the sewer, then he ends up here. You don't go into burning houses, he should have known better. That's that dude. So maybe he is an actual arsonist, and maybe these are real criminals, but... Is it right to sympathize? What is a good enough amount of punishment involving torture? Is torture morally correct? Can it be in some scenarios?
I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but if you could find it in your heart to gather the ingredients for Vire's tonic before attempting to mend the all, there might still be a chance for you to save me. Please, my fate is in your hands.
Spotlighting, whatever it's called. Right, well that is going to be it for this episode. Alright, we have one more, and then we're done. I did want these to be just longer form content. Not as edited, because I just want us to be able to have this experience together, so, yeah. We'll finish this up in the next episode. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Let me fumble to try and press my buttons in time so I can end the episode.